Sorry. That's what happens when I have my dick out. It fucking just makes...
What?
The intro... You haven't recorded yet, you haven't?
Yeah, the intro literally just finished, and that's...
Oh, delete. No, I have special underwear because I'm so heavy down there, so that's what the sound makes when it stresses. Sorry, guys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the weekly episode of the Tigercast. I was in my head trying to think, okay, what am I going to lead in with? And then that's just, dropped a bombshell. Fair enough. Not the qualifying final we were all hoping for, I think it's fair to say, fellas, but after a bit more thought about the game and how it panned out and the form line for our team, I think there's still light at the end of the tunnel. Welcome, CB and Tiger71. Thanks for joining me, fellas.
Good evening.
Hey, good
CB,
evening.
thoughts on the game, mate?
It's like, as we just discussed off air, honestly, I'm not really disturbed by the loss at all, if I'm honest. I'd rather us get rolled in that game than a preliminary final. So I think there's plenty of room for improvement. So for me, it wasn't doom and gloom.
All right, and I'm going to do I know I literally just said to you both that we'll do the bloodbath first, but I reckon we'll just keep going with the talk about the Brisbane game.
Oh,
I don't know if this is broken. I don't know if this is broken yet, guys. I've just literally got the text, right? But I don't know if you're going to say this on air or not, but apparently Shaw has had a mental breakdown and admitted to mental hospital, and Blakely will take over from North.
What?
Oh, really? Shit.
Yeah, I've just got that. It's from one of my inside guys. Now, I haven't had my other two mates confirm, but this guy's generally fairly solid, and he's just texted me. Apparently Shaw has had a mental breakdown, admitted to mental hospital, and Blakely will take over North. But again, I don't know if that's accurate or not. He's literally just said that he can be a little bit...
Well, if true,
Wow.
all the best to
if that's
Rachel.
true, you've
No one
heard it
ever
here
wishes.
first. Yeah,
No
no
one
one
ever
wishes
wishes that kind of stuff upon anyone. So hopefully, if it is true, hopefully Shaw is okay.
And I think I'm just by surprised reading the test. That's why I've just blurted it out, because it literally just came as, my phone rang just before we actually started. So and I had to hang it up and just, oh God, hope that's not true.
So
Hope that's not true. But
just timestamp that at Monday night, 8:45 p.m.
yeah, actually a little bit earlier. It's 8:44. But anyway,
We're a bit faster than you guys. We're a bit faster than you guys in the country. It's been proven.
Yeah, no, for me, I'm like CB. Not too concerned. Like, if you look at, let's take the umpire, let's park the umpiring for the second, right? And the fucking nature of how pathetic it was, all right? We had more inside 50s. We had more running bounces. We beat them in contested possession. We beat them in uncontested possession. We had more disposals, right? We got slammed in the free kicks, right? Which is obviously a thing, but we'll park that. Hit outs, we got absolutely belted on by 20, but everything else was sort of, centre clearances we smashed, and that suppressed your effect, I reckon. Stoppage clearance we got really hurt on. But overall, statistically wise, we didn't play well, even though the eye test we had too many down. We were just like in fits and spurts. We brought into some of their shenanigans, which we'll probably elaborate later in the podcast. So overall, which was great. I walked out from that after thinking and reviewing the game. They've played their cards, and they've got no cards left. And I don't think they've got another gear to go to them. We have another 3 or 4. Let's hope we meet them in the grand final. I just pray to the footy gods we meet them in the grand final. Because I predicted now we'll do a GWS on them.
Well, interesting you brought up Dion Prestia. So for a guy who was absolutely gassed by the time the last quarter hit, he was still our second most possession. He was number 2 in our possessions with 20 disposals, 7 kicks, 13 handballs. And the fact that we actually belted a team in the midfield again, like with clearances and things, just shows you the importance of what he brings structurally around the ball.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden Kane Lambert was our number 3 in possessions, racked up 19. So it just shows you the impact that guys like Edwards and Prestia, when they come into the team. Yeah, correct.
And I don't want people to think we're not taking anything away from Brisbane, because to be fair, they played to their absolute best and they deserved to. Right. They were the better team on the night, without a doubt. We had our chances, but they were just a lot more composed and cleaner than what we were. The damning stat for me is the efficiency inside 50. Now, I remember one of the games we did a live show at one stage. It might have been the Port Adelaide game. I think we were at about 41%, and we all thought, shit, that's pretty low. We've got to fix that pretty quick. Well, for this final, we were at 29%. That is just out of this world
but
bad.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room then. I'm just going to say it, and I hate bagging Richmond players. I genuinely do. So I'm going to try and do this as correct as I can. But Mabior Chol, unfortunately, he offered us nothing. And I think, unfortunately, the young fella, for whatever, he's fallen out of form for his last couple of games. He's definitely making way for Lynch. And I think you'll see a different efficiency stat when Tom Lynch returns to the side.
Yeah,
that's what I will say.
Trog and Tiger sent through a question about this, so we're kind of going to answer this now a little bit. But my thoughts on Trog, I agree, CB, he didn't offer anything. But if you sort of look at all these other games, even last year, in the year before, even at VFL level, he's always played his best football as a ruckman. Anytime he's played as a key forward, he's always looked lost, no matter what level it's been at. But you can obviously get away with it a bit more at VFL level because of the standard of players. But in a qualifying final at the top level, not so much. But I don't know, just the amount of times he was caught behind his defender just couldn't impact the contest. And Harris Andrews essentially didn't have to pay him any respect. He could go on the double team rewild and not have to worry about it. And that hurt us.
And keep in mind, football's a very hard game. I'm not saying anyone who plays at that level, they are genuinely hard physical men. But it just seemed like maybe he just didn't offer any physicality up that forward line either. He didn't impact the contests you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not saying he's soft. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying he just didn't impact contests like a Lynch would, which therefore would keeps defenders more honest and obviously lifts his own team up. It was just we were playing one man down in that forward line. It pains me to say it, but that's what it felt like to me.
You know, for me, when I saw Chol play, now I always think a little bit out the box and I try to align it to the method of how we play, right? I seriously, looking at Chol, I wouldn't drop him. Like, at first I wanted him dropped because you're right. For the role he was picked for, he was not suited. So that's on Hardwick and the coaches, right? They get the plaudits when they do well. They should get the smacks when they don't. They fucked that up, right? They should have put Caddy in the forward line. At least Caddy would have done he's an aerial threat. He plays taller than what he is. He's a bigger body. And Harris, he's a big, nice baller, but Caddy's smart. He would have, let's put body on him. And that's what Chol didn't do, really disappointed me. Yeah. There was no body contact, right?
He was giving him 3 runs, yeah.
Oh, yeah. His positioning was shithouse because he doesn't know how to play forward. That's how it looked like to me. It's like we've put him in the forward line and he's just had minimal instruction on how to play forward. So I see Chol, he at the ruck when he went to go into the ruck, he was, I wouldn't say serviceable, he was just passable at most, which is all we really need with Nankervis in there. But I reckon we're missing an opportunity with Chol. And he showed it in the Port game. Play him on the wing. He's forget his height for a second, right? He can run like the wind. He can mark the ball. He's the type of guy, he's a good mark when it's more one-on-one or 2-on-2 or 2-on-3, he will take the mark if the ball's coming at him and he's not crowded in with 5 or 6 defenders jumping into him, which is what he will get in a wing. He's a beautiful kick. He's a beautiful field kick, and he likes to run towards goals.
But the thing is, mate, this week coming up, Ryder and Carlisle.
Ryder's not playing.
That's right. They're out of the team. So I'm saying he's actually not required. They've only got Marshall. They've got Marshall to ruck, and they'll have a part-time another PT in there, but that Ryder omission is going to help us tremendously this week. Well, because Ryder's been playing some very good football. So I just think that's why I sort of say I think it's going to be Lynch and Caddy in. Yeah. And I think it's going to be maybe a Chol and maybe it's a toss-up to me between Jacob Arts and maybe a Marlon Pickett. They're probably the two in my mind that could come out for Josh Caddy, just depending on how we want to play it. But
back on Chol a bit. So with everyone crucifying him, I think he's got a place in our side, but I think it's not as a forward unless he has a full pre-season in a forward line.
He needs to learn the craft more.
He needs to learn the craft.
I think, to be fair to him as well, when you go back through the VFL games, he's been played kind of all over the shop. He's been played as a backman, as a forward, as a ruck. So kind of in a similar way to Bolter, hasn't really had that settled position. So once the club sort of work out what they want to do with him, I think they need to really put that development into him because I think he's got the tools. He just needs the confidence in the role he's been given. And yeah, essentially him being asked to play the Lynch role was never going to work. It had to be Caddy, unfortunately. I get why they tried Troll, but it didn't work and they've got to own that and no doubt they will. I've
got one for you. Just as Tiggs, this is more left field. It's not left field actually because we've done it before. If there was a third in and just hear me out. If there was going to be a third into this game, would you not trial Broad as the second ruckman?
Oh, my God. Have you had your diabetes medication, man?
He's done it before.
I know he's done it before. Mate, you could get any spud to do it, really. Like, seriously, what was shitting me? Good salient point, CB. Well done, son. Bravo. Why the fuck was Martin...
Rucking in the forward line. My God.
Rucking in the forward line when Charles there. Ask me this, right? Like, I was watching it with my wife, right? My wife and I are watching it. You know, and I didn't have my leather pants down. I feel responsible for the loss, right? But my wife was right there. I used to wear my leather pants when I was single. But back on point, when he was rucking, my wife said, "Is that Dustin Martin rucking?" I said, "Nah." That's, judging by the girth, that must be Caddy, but he wasn't picked. And then I looked again, and I just, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You take away, yes, he's got body enough to match up that big gorilla that they've got that was rucking. But you miss out his X factor to take the tap. He reads the tap. You just sacrificed it. So I have the sneaky suspicion Hardwick did non-Hardwick type errors, right? That type of shit, you know. It was, you know, letting Grimes get let up the ground. You know, all this sort of...
That was good coaching. Credit to Brisbane. Yeah, but that was a genuinely clever coaching move.
No doubt. Flog Fagan did well. No, hold on. You haven't let me finish. You haven't let me finish. Flog Fagan, that's how I'll know him from whatever and from now on. But Hardwick normally responds. What's great with the growth of Hardwick is when he's getting beaten in the coaching box, more often than not, he will try to change it up. Right? Am I wrong, CB?
You're never wrong.
No, thank you, mate. And if you hear different, mate, it's fake news, right?
Oh, come on, man!
But he didn't. He let these things go. I wonder why. Pray tell.
It's an interesting question, but it hurt us in the end. Although, Dusty did actually jag a goal from it, but gave away a 50, so that was a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
I actually watched that replay, just of that specific bit of vision again, about 10 minutes before we come on air, and the ball left his boot not even close to a second after the whistle finished being blown. It's like, how can you pay that as a 50? Like the 250s where we shoved people, fair enough. That's stupid on our behalf, and we've got to stop doing that and stop getting sucked in. But the one that Bolton and Dusty got done for the kicking the ball, like. They hadn't even announced who the free kick was for.
That's right.
And you see that happen plenty of times in games. But
it was a raw.
I don't want to bring the umpires into it too much because there's plenty of things we could have done better ourselves. But I think overall, for Richmond people out there listening, don't panic too much because the way I'm sort of looking at it, we played pretty poorly. Brisbane played really well. If we had have somehow stumbled over the line in that game and then had a week off and then a prelim, it's bad form to take into a pretty crunch time game. So the fact we get another run at it, we get another game into Prestia, another game into Edwards and Asprey, we get Lynch back, it kind of gives us a chance to reignite and re-spark. And we're coming off 6 wins in a row. And I know we've had longer streaks than that, but sometimes just resetting isn't a bad thing. So if we do happen to win the next couple, instead of playing a grand final going for 9 in a row, you're all of a sudden going for just having to win 3 in a row.
That's right.
It sounds a lot more fathomable, if that makes sense. So definitely no panic stations here, despite what the media say.
And Lynch is going to be better for the run against the Saints, isn't he? Could you imagine Lynch if he's gone straight into a preliminary final without that game under his belt? At least with this one, he gets a game under his belt. He gets a blowout of any team. So if we beat the Saints, which, look, no disrespect to St Kilda, they had a great year, but I would be fucking flummoxed. I'd be flummoxed, boys. I swear you would hear reports of...
flummoxing?
Mate, no, you would hear reports on the Channel 10 News, a gorgeous, handsome 48-year-old man with a fucking amazing 22-year-old body running down Craigieburn Central in flames, mate. I fucking put petrol on myself. I'd be there fucking surprised. That's just crazy. But no, we cannot lose. I refuse to. No, I'm not going to even talk about it.
I just think, like I said, it's Elton John's wig. Him and I had a chat, and I can't remember if I brought this point up on one of our previous podcasts, but we were debating. I'm not debating. We're actually in agreement whether it was actually going to be a good thing if we actually had finished 5th this year. Because it would have, given our injuries and the timing we're not coming back, to get that extra game in. And that's probably the other reason why I'm not really beating myself up over losing to the Lions, because it gives Prestia the second game in. It gives Edwards the third game in. It gives Asprey the third game in. So it actually gives these guys the opportunity to run into a bit of form if we can get over the Saints into the prelims. So, like I said, for whatever reason, I'm just not that disturbed by the loss for whatever reason.
Agree. So stress less, Tiger fans. It's not the end of the world. It's the benefit of finishing in the top four. You get that double chance and you live to fight another day. And as I think I've seen it a few times on the socials floating around that, and I'm not comparing us to these teams by any stretch, but the Brisbane in their heyday, I think Hawthorn and Geelong in their sort of prime, when they were going for their third flag, they all lost the qualifying final and had to do it the hard way to get back and win that third flag to really establish themselves. So it's not out of the question. It's not doable. It's just the path that we're going to have to take. So, but well done to Brisbane. They deserve to win, and we'll take a good look at St Kilda shortly. But before we do, CB, you've got a bloodbath lined up for us. I think Tiggs is going to chime in with one as well.
Yeah, look, I didn't have it written down. I had a late day with work and stuff, but it's going to be a partial bloodbathing of myself, but then it's a celebration.
Okay.
So the partial bloodbath is the fact that on Saturday night, I'll admit that I didn't go for West Coast Eagles on Saturday night.
So you don't want to say it the other way around, that you've barracked for Collingwood?
Yeah, right. So I didn't support West Coast, right? So did I feel dirty about it? Yeah. But with the result that occurred, I slept pretty comfortable that night knowing that Western Australian football is fucking dead. Dead as a dodo for this year. They are sitting on the sidelines after all their Vic bias, all their tears, all their crap, their smart-ass Premier, the border wank. But the actual disrespect that state and that football public and the media over there showed the Collingwood Football Club, that was a joke. Imagine if that was our team over there and we had coaches in a caravan park and headlines of dirty Tigers and stuff like that. It was just, you know what? That was one of the best karma wins I've seen in years. So I can't say it the other way around, but West Coast, stick it up your ass. I could not be happier. You got blitzed on your own deck in front of your own feral, toothless, dumb, meth head crowd. Fantastic. Suck it. Bloodbath over.
Tiggs, what have you got to add?
Just mine's pretty simple. To all the Lion flog posters on BigFooty, right, that have just had the biggest win since I can remember, because all of them are bandwagons. Like there's only probably about 5 of them that have followed them since post 2000, so or whenever that shit truck of a club was merged. But anyway, liking posts and then coming onto our threads and giving your sage advice. Just want to let you know, little peons, you've poked the bear a little bit too early. You haven't won the grand final yet. So I know you're chock full of confidence, but please, and I hope their mods listen to this, being this is BigFooty cast, allow the Richmond people who have been subjected to the like abuse to return serve, just for the nature of the community, you know. I hope you allow us to do that, because I'll tell you what, Lions, if you get done in the grand final by us, the flood is coming. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, can I just say, Tiggs, after their behaviour and what they behaved after their win, it just reminds me of Collingwood and Rolls in the prelim in 2018. All I'll say to you Lions people is, hey, what could go wrong right now? What could go wrong if we roll you?
You've just got to hold fire.
No, go Wild Lions. Tell us you won it. Tell us. Get in there. Get on our board. Tell us. Educate us. Go for it. Go your hardest. What could go wrong?
Be very careful, because it can backfire dramatically, as we know ourselves from certain things along the way.
No. Please, come on board. Come onto our board. Post what you want. Nothing will happen. Nothing bad.
I want to give a shout out to the St Kilda supporters and even football fans in general who, once again, we've got an MRP incident with Ben Long, whose tribunal decision got rejected, so his 1-week suspension stands, although the club may be appealing the tribunal. That's yet to be announced. But for the idiots out there, again, trying to compare what Ben Long did to what Cochin did with Shield in that final, please stop. It's not even remotely close. Once again, we've said it before on the show, we'll say it again, Cochin went in and won the ball. Ben Long was not going for the ball. He made a decision to bump, and I watched that game live, and when that happened, I instantly thought McRae had a minimum broken jaw. Like, that's how... I know he probably pulled back Ben Long, but he still hit him pretty flush in the face. And I was shocked that McRae got up. But to compare that to the Cochrane incident is just downright dumb. So for anyone out there still wanting to do that, pull your head in. It's not even close. Find a different bit of vision to compare it to.
Yeah, and he did it intentionally too. Long, you could see him line him up and just went bang. And it was in a short space of time, but you didn't get that with Cochrane. Cochrane was just going for the ball and Shill happened to be there and they were both converging in on it. He look, but seriously, St Kilda supporters, if you think Long is going to be the reason you lose, God help you. Like, seriously, who's Long? I didn't even know who he was. I knew the last name, but I thought he's fat and he's living in the Northern Territory now. And then I realised he must have had a nephew or something.
Hang on.
So,
boys, AFL hands down, Ben Long verdict. I'm just waiting for thing to line up.
Yes,
Ben Long will miss Friday night's semi-final against Richmond after failing to overturn his one-match suspension at the tribunal. He's out.
There's already been tweets go out from various social medias that the St Kilda Footy Club are considering appealing that decision as well.
What is he, fucking Wayne Carey? And they're broke.
God.
How can they afford to keep it? How can they afford to be? How can they fucking afford to appeal? They're spending the AFL's money. Which is our money.
Because I think there's a fine for losing an appeal, I'm pretty sure. I think it's like 10 grand or something. So I think they have to cough up 10 grand for this one. But I think I'm not sure there's only about 4 or 5 different grounds you can appeal a tribunal decision on. Like whether it's manifestly inadequate or the penalty's too harsh and things like that. But it's like the penalty he's gotten is the lowest amount of week suspension you can get. And so they're obviously arguing to try and get the impact downgraded to low instead of medium. But I just don't see how they're going to be able to get this overturned. So if they do appeal this, I think apparently it'll happen tomorrow. They've got till midday tomorrow to decide. And I dare say it'll have to be heard either Wednesday or Thursday, given the game's on Friday. But as it stands now, he's not playing, but it sounds like they're going to roll the dice.
Is that something, going into a cutthroat final, is that really something you reckon you'd be comfortable with if it was the Tigers? Do you reckon it's a distraction?
What, the reappealing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it screams panic.
Yeah,
it screams absolute panic, desperation.
Yeah, well,
they might be running out of players to put in that have got games behind them, especially with the 2 forced outs, which we'll get to later. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, I had to laugh at the comparison to the incidents, but yeah, so now they might be appealing the appeal.
Just for the listeners who are listening, this is not live actually, but anyway, just to put in context, thing I said at 8:45, while I'm doing this, I'm trying to find out. I've shot off 2 texts, a couple of emails to see if I can get some background. I've also brought in a couple of Tigers that I trust, that I know are pretty grounded in that space, to see if I can come back with any info. Because my main 2 guys that I normally get information from are not available for me till middle of this week. So I won't know till probably earliest Wednesday if it's true or not, but hopefully it breaks before then. But from speaking to someone on a good mate of mine now, he's not discounting it, but he's also saying it might be using that as an excuse for something else. This all makes sense as hopefully the night develops and we continue on, but I'm on it.
All right. I will keep talking about the St Kilda game. So we've obviously got the semi-final coming up this Friday night versus the Saints. Now, we obviously did the other podcast for the finals as a whole, and we all agreed that the Bulldogs and St Kilda game was going to be a cracker, and it didn't fail to disappoint. So I really thought the Doggies might have got up at the end there, and to be honest, there was a point in time where they were probably my preferred opponent if I had to pick, just because of how good Ryder was playing and just how well they were moving the ball. But I don't like to wish injury upon anyone. I really hope Ryder recovers really well, but that injury for them changes everything dramatically for the Saints, doesn't it, CB?
Absolutely massive injury. Because the fact is, Ryder was he went the clock back a bit. He was playing some seriously good footy. His last month
best on ground, I reckon. He smashed it. And
yeah,
having to have him go up against Nankervis and Marshall, that was going to be a good 1-2 punch against us.
Yeah, correct. So like that's really even the playing field in our favour. So, like I said, I'm not wishing any ill will or malice on Patrick Ryder, and I hope Carlisle's child is born beautiful and healthy. Like, just the timing for the Saints on those 2 things has just been absolutely spewing.
Yeah, I feel for them too, right? Like, they have played. I sort of said it in the review of them. They've played a brave brand. They've got huge weaknesses though in that brand. Like we just played a shit game when we played it. That's taken nothing away from them. We just had one of our. We
that
generally
was
do it
very
twice.
early on though for us.
It was
in our stride yet.
Yeah, we were. But we played even for the excuses we had, injuries and disruptions and all that sort of stuff. I think we're in the heavy training phase when we played them too. But even with all that said, we played shit. So credit to them, they had a good win. But even saying that, I've always said this about Saints. I said on my review, if you go back, they're playing a brave brand, but they have major glaring weaknesses in defence. They can get a hold of and the Bulldogs showed that when it was a classic game, when the Bulldogs just sort of woke up and then actually started tearing through their back line. So their weakest area to me is their back half. That's their weakest area. To lose Carlisle is a huge fucking loss.
Yeah.
Losing Long is nothing, right? Losing Ryder.
He's been a good rebounding defender for them.
He's
played some good footy.
Yeah, but look, I've seen a few of his games. He turns the ball over. I don't rate him as a player. That's just my personal opinion. But he's proved a little bit this year. But how much is that? His 16-minute quarters. You know what I mean? 16-minute quarters covers up a lot of average footballers. That's my opinion. A lot of average footballers that don't have the tank, that can't play under duress. What I mean by that is when they start getting fatigued, can't maintain their skills. 16-minute quarters covers a lot of that. That's my opinion. We'll see how he goes next year. Let's hope they go back to 20-minute quarters at least.
No,
they won't. The fucking Gill won't. He's a fucking,
No, it's 18,
Gill.
I reckon.
18, you put your house on it.
No, yeah. Well, at least they won't reduce our list by fucking 6 like it originally was supposed to be and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, yeah, they're going to be really weakened. Their ruck Marshall I rate, and if he has to ruck, I rate him actually better as a forward, to be honest.
He's a good ruck forward.
He's a great ruck forward. It's a superb ruck forward. In their forward line, I would bring Markov. You're saying who you would bring in. I actually would bring Markov in, right? And the reason why I'd bring him in, he knows Bolter. He knows
Butler.
God, I'm getting all diseased, man. A bit of dementia. He knows Butler. See what happens? Any Richmond players?
There's just some disco dust left in those leather pants you had on.
No. Richmond players, I love you. But the second you wear another jumper, I'd start to forget who you are, right? I don't care how long you play with. But, Butler, he's fast, but Markov knows how to play on him in training.
Mate, Shorty's going to get Butler.
No. What I would do.
Not Shorty, sorry, Bakes.
What I would do.
Yeah.
But this is what I would do. I would put Markov. Now, keep in mind, fellas.
Who are you dropping for him?
Hold on.
Because to bring him in, you've got to drop one out.
Keep in mind, Nathan Buckley is my advice, right? So hold your horses. Let me finish what I'm going to say before you throw all this.
Mate, hello. I'm the only bloke who tipped Collingwood last weekend by 2 points.
Fake news.
Mr. October, Mason Cox, I said 4 goals. He kicked 3 in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, but that's not 4 goals, though, is it?
It's not who found me motivating. If you're listening, get stuffed.
But that's not. It's not 4 goals. But my call was exactly right. But back on point, if I can. No, I'd put Markov. In. Who you said you would take out? I'd leave Short in. I'll take out Arts. I would take out Scholl. I'd put Markov in. I would actually, funny enough, I would probably. Everyone's going to hate me for saying this. I would say Pickett with the 50s you gave away, with your disposal being 250-50. Now, don't misunderstand me. I love his intent, but he bumps when he should tackle. It still hasn't gone out of his game. He has some wayward kicking, like his first kick of the game. I don't know who he was kicking it to. He just sort of kicked it into the forward line to nobody. He bumps, and also a couple of his undisciplined acts. I would say, mate, you step it out this game. I would then go, Markov, your form warranted it. I'd play him on a wing. And then I'd probably go alternate Baker and Markov on Butler. That way you have 2 speed demons running with him the whole entire game. So Butler just has to keep on going at full sprint, and he's always got someone fresh on him. And he will cut his chaos penetration from impacting us. That's what I would do. I'd give Pickett a rest. I would give Markov a bit of reward. I'd say, all right, play a final. You deserve it with the 4 block of 4 games you've done. You deserve this, mate. And give Pickett the rod up the arse he needs and go, okay, you need to clean up your disposal, go back on the training track. You need to fucking tackle when we tell you to tackle. So when you play against Adelaide, you actually do the team things. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, interesting. I wouldn't. I mean, I was pretty not upset, but I was pretty bewildered that Markov got dropped initially to begin with because he was playing so well. I know Batch had to come in, but he was in red hot form, so I wouldn't be against finding a way back into the side because the Saints are good at getting their forwards up the ground to allow Butler to sort of run over the top to get those quick, run into goal, easy shots on goal like what he did for us. With the Saints backline you're mentioning being a weakness with obviously Carlisle out as well. The other issue they've got as well is Josh Battle may not be back in for this game. So there was sort of speculation on the Saints sport. He may have like those hot spots in his foot or something to that effect. He hasn't trained for 2 weeks, so if he does come in, he's going to be very underdone. But he's a good player for them. He can play forward or back. And I mean, by default, would have to play as a key backman this week if he were to come in. But if he doesn't get up, they're looking at, I think, Robertson, to come in. Someone who hasn't played since round 1. Was pretty. Is he
the bloke with the heart attack? He had a heart attack on the.
I think so. Yes, I think he's the next in line in the view of some St Kilda supporters to come in and play in the back line, and he hasn't played since round 1. And other people who might be into consideration as well are in a similar boat, CB. So they're kind of left with some slim pickings for defenders to come in if Joshy Battle doesn't get up.
Well, let you go.
Sorry, CB, I just have to say this, mate. Being a final. There's no mercy in finals. I'll get Robert and I'll run him up and down the ground.
Yep.
I just run him up and down, and you never know. Donald Trump said it's just the flu. He might just have chest pain. Dude
was in a car today waving. He was amazing.
He better be fit, right, Robertson, because he's going to be running up and down. You don't want him having a cardiac arrest on the wing in a final. That's all I can say.
Now, I think like I said, I'm going to keep my ins and outs a bit more simpler. I'm just going to roll with Caddy for. I'll say Caddy for Arts. I think they like Pickett on the wing, so I'll say Caddy for Arts, and I'll say Lynch for Charlie. And I think what they'll do is I don't think Dusty will be rucking the forward 50, but I think the hard thing's going to be who chops out, whether Pickett actually goes in as a second ruck option to give Nank the odd chop out in the centre. That's the only thing I think they're going to do. Otherwise, I think possibly Dave will be rucking in the back half, Tom will be rucking in the front half, and Nank will be doing in the middle.
The other
we'll be going back to the 2017 ruck setup.
Yeah, I've got a feeling
that I saw, and it kind of tied into what you said earlier about Broady coming in. Not so much Broad rucking, but if Broad was to come in, he can obviously play defence, as we well know. But for that 20% of time we needed a backup ruck, Bolter could go in and pinch hit ruck. So he's still got Grimes, Broad, Asprey down back. Bolter pinch hit ruck for the 20% game time he has to. But then I suppose it's what happens with Broad once that's done. Does he play?
That's what I mean.
And I reckon
I'm not sure what the second part of the answer to that question is, but it wasn't a bad theory that I saw.
Now, this is not me slagging off Broad. He'll always be a Tiger legend to me, right? Because he's played in flags and he got us to where we are with his work. But I think the coaching group sort of thinks, and the list management group sort of thinks, Markov is now gone past Broad in relation to upside and potential ceiling, right? So I reckon what they would do, if they were going to do that with Bolter in the ruck, they'd play Markov. Because Markov will give you a defensive capability. He will give you offensive defensive capability by running off and creating run, creating dare. You can also play a wing, so he's a bit more versatile. He's also been played on the half-forward flank.
That's true. He's got more tricks.
And also keep in mind with Markov, which a lot of people don't. I saw a fair bit of him in the VFL. Lambert's our high half forward, but he really is a defensive high half forward. Like he's like another mid, right? And he covers, everyone's a common joke, he covers for Dusty, right, and chasing. Markov was playing that role in the VFL for big chunks of time. So I think Markov also is a replacement for Lambert if Lambert ever gets injured because we don't win games if Lambert doesn't play, right? Statistically, we just don't. Because that role is really crucial to how a whole system works. So I've got a strong suspicion. I haven't heard anything, but I've got a strong suspicion Markov will play this week.
Yeah, I reckon it'll just be 2 in, and we'll be looking to stretch an undermanned St Kilda defence. Yeah. That will be the end game. It will be. It will be manic. It will be manic. The problem we had with the if you go on the weekend's game, that second quarter, we had in the second quarter, we had a real period of domination, and we just didn't score for 10, 15 minutes. And you just got to hope that we don't do that against the Saints. And, I mean, I don't know. If we bomb it in, I think we're trying. We need to lower the eyes a bit and just be a bit more smarter with our ball movement in.
Yeah.
And especially after watching the Saints game, Caulfield and Dougal-Howard took a shitload of intercept marks versus the Dogs when they bombed it in high, and they had Norton and Bruce down there who were probably of similar stature in terms of size to Jack and Lynch, maybe not of quality, but so yeah, if we're just going to blast it in like that, those two guys could pick it off. But having said that, that was on the basis of Carlisle taking one of them, so that freed one of them up to be able to intercept grabs.
Yeah,
so
but in saying that,
things.
Yeah, but what hurt us against Brisbane with the high ball wasn't the fact of the high ball. It's just the high ball, we do it because our forwards generally are strong enough to contest with the defender to get the ball at least more often than not to ground. Because Chol, again, I'm not blaming Chol, right? But it was more often with Chol being ignored. So Jack, the poor bloke, was going up against two blokes, and then Andrews was flying unopposed at the back and was spoiling it into the wing or spoiling it out of bounds. Spoiling it too far for our crummers to be any effect. Their long spoils killed our game, our forward 50 craft. So it was good coaching. They've gone, okay, they're vulnerable. If they continue the way that they're going to play, if Chol doesn't get off the chain, and you believe you've got him covered, go for it, Andrews. And he did that. And that crucified us. We could not get that chaos. The ball's on the ground. Then we close it. We create a stoppage, or we, do our thing and we score our dirty goals. So that's what we missed. We didn't have any of those goals during the game, which is not a bad thing. They exposed something to us. They exposed that we need our forwards to contest a high ball if we're going to go that route. And I actually think it's a viable plan too. Also, too, we kicked it. You remember the beginning of the year, we kept on kicking in that fucking 40 to 50 metre zone? And I was railing about why don't we go, deeper from 0 to 30 as a start-off point, because one, it's easier to defend, two, it's puts them a lot more pressure. And we started doing that as we picked. I'm not saying just because it was my suggestion, but when we started doing that, we started winning games again, right? And everything. On the final, we were kicking it to the 40, 50 metre zone more often than not, which was disappointing too. So a lot went wrong for us, as you said, but I don't think it's the high ball that hurts us. We just can't let the defenders spoil cleanly. Yeah. It's probably the best way to say it. Make it hard for them to spoil cleanly.
Now, at the other end of the ground, CB, King and Membry started to play really well, impact that game against the Bulldogs. King especially, he was massive. He stood up and probably kept them in it when the Bulldogs were kind of firing a little bit early on. Is it the Bolter versus King matchup? Is that pretty straightforward? And then who goes to Membry?
I reckon. Do you reckon Grimes? Do you reckon Grimes will take Membry and lock down on him?
Possibly. He's probably a bit more athletic, or too athletic for Asprey, I reckon. He's not very stay-at-home-ish.
I reckon. I don't know. I reckon Dave. It'd be interesting. Look, I reckon Dave will take King for starters, and I'll go the easy option. I'll assume that Bolter will take Membry because Membry plays higher up the ground, and Bolter can go with him. I'll roll with that, and I think Baker will take the dangerous Butler. I think that will be the three key matchups in there, and then Grimesy will do what Grimesy and Floston do, and yeah. And then, so I'll be lazy. I won't do anything controversial. I'll just say Bolter will take Membry and Dave will take King.
And Tiggs, from a pace perspective, the Saints have got Hunter Clark. Well, they did have Ben Long, if he may or may not play. Brad Hill is the other one who's obviously very pivotal to their side, and Ratton's made no sort of secret about they want to put more ball through Brad Hill because of his pace. What do we do? What do we look at doing there? I know we don't tag traditionally, but I don't think we can ignore him too much either.
Sorry, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, the other
two things
the other
at once.
71, mate.
No, I'm sorry, brother. I'm so used to just favouring CB. I've just, I'm only joking. Hey, what was the question again? Sorry, I'm trying to find out that news about Shaw and a few other things are coming through. What was the question?
I'll tell you. I'll answer your question for you. How's that? You look, and I'll answer it.
No, it's all done. I'm ready now. You got me.
No, it was just about the pace plays that the St Kilda have with Hunter Clark, Brad Hill, Ben Long if he plays, and obviously Ratton's made no apologies of saying they want to play a lot more through Brad Hill because of his pace. Do I know we don't tag, but do we have to keep a closer eye on him and make sure he doesn't get off the leash?
Yeah, look, I reckon to feed a winger, we've just got to be stupid with the ball, right? If we're smart with the ball, if we keep the ball contested, keep the ball going, chaos, just pushes and taps, and locking it down, we're not going to really have to worry about Brad Hill. But yeah, obviously we've got to keep mindful of him. That's one reason why I'm really pushing Markov to play. Markov could run with Hill and keep with him.
I think Camden could do a job there as well.
Yeah, Camden will, but but the last time he played them, Camden kept up with him for the length of the game. Actually, let me rephrase this. If we were 20-minute quarters, I'd bank Camden, right? Because his natural tank will end up catching up, so they'll balance each other out. But he got crucified by Hill. Hill was running off him easily because he could burst run with him. I would put another sprinter with him.
I have a name.
That's a Markov for me.
Yeah, it's just like, who's the one guy that really shits us when he gets off the chain when we play Collingwood?
Side bottom.
Thank you very much. So, in light of that logic, I would actually stick Jack Graham on him.
Hill will burn him.
Oh, he'll burn Jack Graham.
Graham's one of our quickest at the club.
No, he's not. Don't believe.
Yes, he is.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, unless the speed gun's been wrong the last 2 games we've played.
No, it's a weird thing.
Maybe it might be okay over like 5 to 10 step distance, but if Hill gets into any amount of space, I don't think Graham's going to catch him.
Right,
maybe around a stoppage. The other thing I want to put out there, CB, and it means ultimately nothing, I guess, because of the record that we had against Brisbane, but Dimmer's 0-7 versus a Brett Ratton coach side. Does that have any bearing at all?
Let me answer your question with a question.
Okay.
Did Brisbane's record of not beating us since 2009 matter on Friday night?
Didn't. It has to end at some stage, as Drolsy T kept saying in the preview threads, and she was ultimately proven right. But it's just an interesting... I know that when he was coaching Carlton, we were also pretty shit at that point in time too, so some of them probably don't count for too much, but just thought it was an interesting stat to throw out there.
Yeah, no, it is, but I just think every game is different, every situation is different, and this is a different high-stakes game again. So, look, we all admit Matt Ratton's been a wonderful coach for St Kilda this year.
Very good.
But at the end of the day, he's not out there kicking the ball, is he? He's got 22 blokes that got to execute in a very high pressure situation. Now, have we got Metricon for this game? Because we nominated Metricon that we would like to play there.
No, it's locked in.
It's been locked in now.
It's been locked in.
So we're at a ground that we're very, very, very comfortable with as well.
But we're comfortable at the Gabba too.
Yeah. I think the players in the club like Metricon more just because of how close it is. And
it's 400 metres away.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
We'll do a tip and margin at the end. We'll move on to the listener questions now, though.
Yep.
I'll go to CB. You can have this one first. This is from PT Ago on Twitter. If the list is cut to 38 senior listed and only 4 rookies, then who misses out on a spot from our uncontracted players listed below, based on that no trades are being done involving these people? Hooley, Nankervis, RCD, Miller, The Egg, Turner, Arts, Pickett, English, Broad, Markov, Garthwaite.
The best bit is I waited for you to ask that whole question. I reckon Tig should answer this one because he's the man on this stuff.
All right,
so I'm going to throw it over to Tiggs.
Thank you, CB, mate, and fuck you too, son. No, good call. All right, let me get that list. You put it in the agenda, yeah?
I did.
The list of I'm just going up to it. Hold on.
Do you like that, Michael?
Yeah,
it's fucking brilliant. You can tell you're a Trump man, mate. Unbelievable. Just so quick with the...
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, come on, man. Come
on, man.
Okay. I'm just...
That's my best bite. If people wonder what I'm doing, I'm actually taking the piss out of Joe Biden when I do that.
Come on, man. 4 rookies you would miss out. Okay, well, it's pretty easy. I can tell you would miss out.
Yep.
Well, Broad's gone. Well, I'm trying to read your writing. It's just you're right with those.
I know my handwriting shit, but I've typed this. It's
you've used your little type, childlike keyboard. It's just all right. So it's Hooley, Nankervis, RCD, Miller, Egalesi Smith. Is that it?
Yeah.
You the Des, right? Well, he'll be delisted. I got a feel. Broad will be gone. I'm really worried about Garthwaite. I think he'll be gone. Pickett will be gone. So there's 4 changes. Well, 3 and a possible 4 already. So Hooley's staying, Nankervis is staying, RCD is staying. I think Miller's staying. I think he is actually. Arts is definitely going to get promoted into the senior list. Pickett is Freo. Broad is Gold Coast. Markov said no to Carlton, from what I know. There's a couple of clubs sniffing at him, but no, he's committed to us. Though it hasn't been announced yet that he'll stay. They're just working out the actual dollars and cents. But I think Garthwaite's gone for more opportunities.
So a few players gone there. All right. Well, in that case, I'll throw this one to CB, unless you want to turn this to someone else as well. This is from Richmond Man 04 on Twitter. Who is next in line after Jack Riewoldt?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be maybe a child, but after Friday night,
you're going to have to hope a lot harder, I think.
No, it's funny. I think that the Riewoldt replacement won't come from within. I think we will go external to replace him. And the funny is, the name I've mentioned is Tiggs that I wouldn't mind us exploring, because I think the guy can play, and B, I don't think he'll cost you a lot of dollars. Is it Tom McDonald from Melbourne, Tiggs?
Yeah, that's why I want to drive my car off the road.
Yeah.
If we got Tom McDonald, I swear to God, fucking that's it. We don't play finals.
I'm just saying, is it like, I think, to answer Richmond Man 4's question, I think we'll look externally to replace Riewoldt. Jack's got one more year left in him.
What we'll do, we'll go in the draft, because this is a draft for forwards.
It is a tall draft, and it's ruck and forwards, isn't it?
And we've got some good quality kids in our forward line. We've got a couple of good quality kids. I don't know if CCJ will get a next life. I hope he does. If not, he'll get traded, but he's still under contract. Yeah. We might be forced just to give him both parties knowing that we're stuck together for 12 more months, and we give him a red hot crack and then re-fall in love together. Who knows what happens next year? But yeah, he's finally got the opportunity. He fucking idiot could have got the opportunity of this final series.
Yeah, if I was a real troll, I would have said Floppy Brown, just to really arc people up.
I said that. I don't know if you're having a dig at me there. If you read my post, I did float that idea.
He sends us direct messages about you. Just want to let you know, Steve.
I did float the idea that.
Well, I never do it, Michaels. Just want to put it out. He does. I don't do it.
A sneaky chance, but I got shot down pretty quickly from that.
I would drive my car off the road if Ben Brown donned a Richmond jumper.
But you know what? Look, if he cost us nothing, right? If he cost me nothing but a second rounder. Right, and cost me, let's say, 400,000-500,000 max. You're a fucking idiot if you don't take Ben Brown. Let me just tell you why. He's kicked in 3 seasons when he actually got supply: 63, 67, 64. Right, he is a perfect foil for Lynch. Why? He's a lead mark forward. We have 2 of them. They break the forward line into lanes. Right? Very hard to defend. Then you have your creative medium-sized forward in Riewoldt. It'd extend his life by a couple of years. Trust me. If we had fucking Brown and we had Lynch and we had Jack Riewoldt as our 3-prong attack, because Lynch can play as a medium. People don't realise this. He's not really a tall. It would fucking make us a fucking... I hope we would do it. Michaels, you are a fucking genius.
We'd be slow, though. We'd be
I'm weighing up what you're saying. And I think I'd rather smash my nuts on the inside of a filing cabinet door than consider that trade.
Well, can I say something to you, though? How good would it have been when Neil got that long bomb goal from a dodgy 100 metres, and then in the third quarter, Brown let up, collapsed, and we got a 20-metre
it wouldn't work, though, because he's wearing a Richmond jumper. It wouldn't work as well as it does.
But Brad, Mitch Cleary would have a year.
It's going to take about 2 or 3. It's going to take about 2-3 seasons before the umpires learn to hate him, right? He'll start copping free kicks. We will win games based on his ability to get free kicks. But in saying I'm only being facetious, he's actually a really good forward. I've seen him live. His work rate is elite. He will run up and down,
He's just surrounded by shit trucks.
But his midfield, you've got to keep in mind, for the past 3 years, it's been evolving, right? They put all those no names and Zeeble and fucking Higgins is the only quality player there. I don't even know the rest of it.
Now, here we go.
But he's still kicking 60 goals.
I'm bringing this guy up because this is the guy I do want from North. I would try and get Higgins. Don't you
fucking say it.
I would try and get Higgins from North.
Don't say it.
Wait,
don't say jack shit. And he is an elite mid. His ball is. Imagine Sean Higgins from North Melbourne.
Higgins. Yeah, I'll give you Higgins. I'll take Higgins if it doesn't cost me nothing but a list spot.
Imagine if you said to Higo, we could, you come to us. We're obviously in a flag window. Imagine him changing on ball with their on-ball brigade and then playing at half forward.
Wait, because apparently the news about Sard is he's pretty keen, which I was going to leave it for next week, but it might break earlier than that. But I'm hearing Sard is pretty keen to come to the Tigers.
Oh,
he's
really?
Hang
on. I thought Basher was keen to go back home.
No, he's not going. That would never happen. But I'm hearing he's still pretty keen to come to Richmond. It's all about working it out, I think.
I thought Carlton had him.
Oh, no one wants to go to Carlton. Come on.
Malcolm will go there.
Unless you're fucking GWS.
I just want to hear your rage on Carlton.
All you're a fucking has-been. And you're getting a multifaceted like McGovern, right? He had big brother syndrome. My big brother gets more money than me. Carlton comes. I can be a hack there, and that's why he went. And look what the Porker has done for Carlton. It's been beautiful, fantastic.
All right, we'll get back to listener questions because we do have a trade special coming up on Sunday, folks.
I know.
A live show everyone on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Trade special. Tune in for that. CB, next question is from JPanna75 on Twitter.
It's for me, isn't it? Trailed on Tiger?
I skipped that one because...
we sort of done that.
No, we covered the Chol one when we talked about the Brisbane game. Oh, you can have this one then. There you go, Tiggs. For JPanna75 on Twitter. The enigma that is Castagna, why does much of our fan base want omissions like Arts, Pickett, Hawley, Chol, but George week in, week out gets a pass? Are expectations that low? I get told he's important. What does he do? Serious question. No composure, poor disposal, discuss.
Japana75. Great question, mate. Now, I hope you're lying down. Please lie down, mate. I'll wait a second. Okay, good. You're lying down. Now, close your eyes for a second, son. Right? And then let my words penetrate your mind and just envelop you in its wisdom. I shall explain to you now the power of the Georgie.
He has moods of dimmer.
God, don't ruin it, CB. It's in the mood. All right. Okay. Apologise, Japana. 75. Again. You're lying down, you're ready. All right. Georgie, the power of the Georgie. He is quintessential to our chaos, and you said it yourself. He's got no composure. He's got poor disposal, and he just runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. He's really hard to defend against because the defenders don't know his shit. He's going to kick straight down the line. Oh, my God, he's going to hit that guy in the pocket. Oh, is he going to run off on his own? Or he's probably going to pick it from 60 metres. That's what George does. Also, too, and that's me being a little bit flippant, George is probably the hardest working, defensively minded forward playing the league football this year. This fucking decade since he's been playing. The stuff he does off the ball, the stuff he does supporting the back line, the stuff he does supporting the midfield, I would ask you, Japana, pick a game at random. And while you're watching it, get a notepad and pen handy and see how often you see George not in the forward line. And then compare that, pick a random game from any other team and just trying to find a forward that happens to be the same amount of times all up the ground like George is. So, yes, he has his fault. Look, he does have his fault. That's why he wasn't in the top 10 pick. So give him his due. But he's a lot more dangerous. His positives outweighs liabilities. And that's why he always will be picked.
Fair enough. Not a good answer. I can't disagree with too much of that.
You always said that about me too, haven't you, Tiggs? My positives outweigh my negatives. Thanks,
mate. You do. It does. But that's only when you take your medication, CB.
All right, CB, this one's from Jill Fitzsimmons on Twitter. Hey, guys, elimination finals were much more free-flowing than our game against Brisbane. What can we do to ensure that our forwards get more of a chance? Also, what do we need to do to address opposition scoring goals from stoppages?
Who's getting that one?
Oh, you, CB.
Yeah, you said that.
Jill, how are you, love? Thought I'd just be a bit of a chauvinist pig there. Jill, how are you? Elimination.
I'm good, mate. How are you? How do you know it's female? Jill's a bloke name too. I've heard a couple of truckies called Jill.
I'm not sure where you go on your truckie chips.
Mate, no, you're in country, mate. I'm sure there's a not farmer called Jill.
So, elimination finals. I think our final, to me, was a very intense, high-pressure game. And Brisbane, it's funny, Brisbane rose to the occasion, if that makes sense. So I looked at the openness of the St Kilda Dogs game. I think we're looking at two lesser teams, if that makes sense. So therefore, they could work the ball easier through the corridor, so to speak. I don't think you'll see this Friday night St Kilda moving the ball as freely and easily as they did on Saturday against us. It just won't happen. So I don't think we need to really worry too much about that. As far as our forwards getting more of a chance, I think you're just going to see the difference naturally with Tom Lynch coming into the team and having a 200-centimetre animal just hit packs, contest, clunk a few, kick a few. It'll be I promise you, we will be a different team on Friday night. And also, if Josh Caddy comes in and plays that forward line role as well, automatically probably a 4 or 5 goal better team. So I think that's, again, I wouldn't worry about the forwards getting more of a chance. And to address the opposition scoring goals from stoppages, is it stoppages and maybe Tiggs and Michaels, you can help me here. How many goals do we give away each game from stupid free kicks?
Too many. You look at the Port game in the final in particular, you take away the stupid free kicks we give away, we win both. I sat on the couch watching it and I'm like, okay, all you've achieved is to be a hero and a macho man for 30 seconds and it's gotten you nowhere and you've cost us a goal and momentum. Like I know football's a very passionate game and it's white line fever and all that kind of stuff, but they've just got to be smarter and pull their heads in and not push the boundary too much.
Yeah, so I do apologise. I'm probably not answering your question properly there, but I'm just questioning in my mind, is it opposition scoring goals from stoppages or is it us being dumb?
Yeah, I think that's probably been more damaging to us, I think.
Yeah, that's sort of where my head's at with that one, Jill. But thank you for the question.
The last question, because the question from Adam we kind of answered in our preview of the Saints game anyway. So the last one will be from Ches for Tigercast71. Worst case scenario, if we go out in straight sets, are we calling it early and looking for early draft picks, or do we back ourselves in, top up with senior players for another premiership crack in 2021? I don't know. Are we at the end of our reign?
Well, I reckon. Can we say that name with a bit of respect, please? Ches de Connor. That is a cracking name.
Well, that's a bit creepy, but anyway, we'll move on. Look, Ches de Connor. Is that how you do it? Is that what you
Ches de Connor.
Have you heard that name? Is that one of the porno guys that you've seen with Brad Scott and the middle-aged Ches? Here comes Ches. Loose balls de Connor.
Ches, you ask questions of us, bro. We've got more questions of you actually.
Listen to here we're talking about. We're dropping him in a porno with the Scott brothers. I
know. Look, Ches, to answer your question, why not both? Like that chick from the Tucko ad, right? And we've been doing it for a few years. We've gone to the draft, not for a few years, for a fair while now. We go to the draft. We generally hold on to our first-round pick, and we then strategically target players from other clubs to force our window and maintain our window open. So also you got to keep in mind is we've got quality kids who haven't really had a consistent crack, like RCD, Markov, Higgins, so on and so forth. So we've got that regeneration already coming through the list. We've got a couple of old-timers who will probably see out. If this year is not their last, I think we'll lose one this year, and I think we'll lose a few next year. We might even lose 2 this year and a few next year. But I'm not going to say I don't mention the list retirements because it's distasteful to me. But I'd be gobsmacked if we don't lose 1 or as a minimum or maybe even 2. But
I was shocked when you told me Tom Lynch was retiring at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, Tom Lynch, not Ferrari. No, that's all a joke. You're a malicious Percy. Mate, he's a malicious. No, I never said Tom Lynch. But anyway.
Yeah, Dustin Martin.
Yeah, Dustin Martin. Mate, you give him an inch, Michaels, he takes a mile. What do we?
No, that's why we love him.
And people say I'm the talker. All right, so hopefully that answers your question, mate. We could do both. You don't have to do one to sacrifice the other.
Very good. All right, well, before we get the tips for the game coming up on Friday night, just a reminder again, we do have our live trade show coming up this Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Are you joining us for that, CB, or is that just going to be Tiggs?
No, you guys
join
can
us.
You guys can do your thing on Sunday.
Oh, you lash. What are you going to do, watch pornos?
Actually, probably could be cricket training. We've got 4 training sessions left during the weekday. We start up on the 17th of October. And this old rig has to get through another season of toil and grind. So I'm not sure if I'll actually be training or not.
All right, that's all right. Well, at a bare minimum, you will be stuck with me and Tiger71 for a trade update on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. We're going to do that as a live show, so keep an eye out on BigFooty or Twitter and Facebook, and I'll send the link out. So Tiggs has rounded up the gossip, he's sorting out the good from the bad, and we'll have something to talk about, and hopefully we can even brag about it.
Can we do it live?
Yeah, we're doing it live. I've said that 3 times.
Great.
That's okay.
Yeah, and guys, and seriously want to get the message out there, send me any questions you got. This is the time. If you want to have me for 30 minutes, ask me whatever you like.
We're not an after-hours hotline, mate. 30 minutes.
But what I'm saying is I'll read. Now I know where to read.
I might dial in now and just breathe heavy for half an hour.
The floor is open to the listeners.
If you've got a question on a player, if you've got any questions on, CB's mental health.
Or Tig's leather pants.
In my pants or Michael's little childlike hands.
Jump on the Spreaker chat. So when you listen live via Spreaker, there's a chat line on there, and you can type your questions in there and I can read them out. Or you can inbox. I mean, it's going to be clean and easy if you do it on Spreaker. I don't want to open up too many avenues because there'll be questions everywhere. But definitely keep an eye for that one this Sunday at 1:30, and hopefully we can even talk about how the game went, if it went the right way. If it lost, we just won't talk about it at all. But,
and are we doing a finals? Are we doing a finals cast?
Oh, we have to. We have to do it because it could be our last game of the year.
So it won't be, but it could be. Are we recording on Wednesday? What are we doing?
I will talk about that off there maybe, but we'll definitely do something. We'll find the day. We'll find the day in time.
I'll be up for the Saints game. Could you imagine if we're losing? Fucking CB's reaction, you'll hear a grown man cry, scream. You'll probably beat his dog, and you'll all hear it on live. That's just a miss.
I've already put a super strength microwave on hold at Harvey Norman. So that baby's going to be good to go. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be microwaving memberships and kicking my dog and all sorts of stuff.
And on that, we'll get the final tips for our game. A reminder: the game is obviously Friday night, 7:50 p.m. at Metricon Stadium, Richmond versus St Kilda. Tiggs, what's your margin for this one?
Just before I give this margin, I really want to tell the listeners something that I've been hanging to say to the whole world. Listeners, doesn't Michael sound like Mario that used to ring Sen? Think about it.
Oh,
wow.
Think about it, Steve. Just dawned on me.
I'm not saying anything.
No.
Ooh, hello.
Right, wow. Do we need 5 minutes just to fucking absorb that? Do we need...
Oh, this is a show of scandal.
Mate, it's what happens when you have put the tinfoil hat on and the umpires are now conspiring to grow the game in the northern states and just bum fucking Richmond. That's what happens, mate. This is the side reaction to it. But look, honestly, Saints are going to be brave. We will show them no mercy. I cannot see us losing this one. I see us winning by. I think we'll play it a bit safe once the game's under control. We just manage the damage and rest players getting ready for Port Adelaide. So I reckon we're at about 23 points. We'll win the game by.
CB?
Look, St Kilda have been a wonderful team all year, and I mean them no disrespect, but Tigers by 75.
Oh, jeez.
Out there, isn't he?
We're going to cop some serious heat for this on social media.
He's had the blue field.
Yeah, I'll say Richmond by 18. I reckon it'll be a hard fight. I'm just trying to balance out the 75-point one, if I'm being honest. That's crazy shit.
It's all the blue pill, Mick. It's all the blue pill.
All right, CBT71, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mario from Doncaster. Thank you, man.
That's going to take off, isn't it? That's not good. And hopefully we can be back next week talking about a hopeful win.
Hope so. Yes. And I hear we're bringing Wayne Carey out of retirement. Stay tuned, folks.
Oh, okay. And until next time, go Tigers. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Richmond BigFooty Tigercast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and YouTube so you can follow all the roast and toast, the reviews and previews, and all topics Richmond. Also keep an ear out for our special episodes of interviews with past players. Go Tigers.